Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic part 3. Which is what if Naruto was raised as a weapon and became Konoha's greatest nightmare part 3. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. 4 days later, the remaining team came to the tower. Team Dosu, Team Guy, Team 8, Team 10 and Team 7 came to P. Naruto found out that his sensei did encounter Orochimaru and revealed that he wanted the Sharingan and gave Sasuke a gift, the cursed seal of heaven, the very same one that Anko had on her. So Orochi-san wants duck, but for what? Well, maybe now I have something to bargain with to his interest. Naruto thought to himself. What are you planning, Naruto-kun? Tomomi asked. Even though I hate traitors, but Orochimaru is one of the keys I need to help with my quest to establish a new country, free Anko from that seal of hers and help him kill that old fool of a Hokage. Naruto replied back. Tomomi said, I can help with the Sarutobi thing. When he fights with his bow staff, he tends to leave his right side open when he is going for a strong attack. Naruto said, thanks, Tomomi-chan, is it time? Yes, it is. The Jinchuriki nodded and slipped into a meditative state, traveling into his mindscape. He moved into the cottage and found Tomomi's room. He opened the door to find her already. Looks like I have a lot of work to do, Naruto said. Tomomi said nothing, but pounced on Naruto and shredded his clothes off of him. I need you so badly, Naruto-kun. Tomomi said seductively. She took his and started to slowly pump it with her hand, making him fully erect. Ah, it woke up, that was quick. Tomomi said as she blew on the head. Naruto moaned a bit in pleasure as the cool air caressed his, making it twitch a bit. Tomomi put her mouth on it and began to suck on the huge shaft. Her rough tongue slowly licked the tip of his and Naruto felt himself in bliss as he thought, good thing I read Kama Sutra or I would have been done for. He was driven from his thoughts as Tomomi clambered on top of him to shove her into his face. Naruto knew instantly what she wanted and plunged his tongue into her folds, making her scream in ecstasy since she was very sensitive. Then the Jinchuriki smirked as he took his hand and plunged his middle finger into her folds to join his tongue and rubbed his special button with his thumb. I could eat this for hours. Oh, Naruto, oh my god, you are so good down there. I am going crazy. Yes, tongue me just like that, tongue me more. Clean my dirty little, Tomomi cried. The demoness went back to her job and went for a deep throat, causing Naruto to grunt and release his life-creating seed down the vixen's throat. You taste so good, ah. Her orgasm came swiftly due to Naruto's ministrations and Naruto's face was drenched with Tomomi's juices. The feeling's mutual, Tomomi-chan. Naruto moved from under her and said, on your knees. Tomomi quickly went on her hands and knees and he entered her snatch, causing Tomomi to scream in pleasure. Naruto grunted at the tightness in Tomomi's womb and began to slam into her again and again, switching up the paces every few minutes much to Tomomi's great pleasure. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 2 clones joined the fray, popping in front of Tomomi and one clone put his in Tomomi's mouth, muffling her screams of pleasure while the other clone began to play around with her perfect S. Tomomi thought, this feels so good, I actually have to thank that blonde bastard's stupidity for this. He is actually filling me up inside, I can't stop moving my hips, I want more. It was true, Tomomi kept moving her hips forward a bit, stopping halfway and slammed her body back into Naruto's tool, making huge waves of pleasure coursed throughout her body. You're so tight, Tomomi-chan. How many times did you say that you masturbated? Naruto said. Tomomi freed her mouth from the clones and said, 30 times, a day, oh there, most of the time you were in the shower, right there, that is my spot. The pleading voice of Tomomi prompted Naruto to pounce her right in her G-spot harder and faster, making Tomomi pant and rest her head on the floor. Her tongue was lolling out of her mouth and her eyes were slightly rolling into the back of her head. If you keep on doing that, Naruto, I'm going to. Naruto moved to where her head was and whispered, release it, my vixen, release it all. You don't have to hold back anymore, let it go. Tomomi let loose a piercing scream as her second orgasm came forward and soon Naruto came after her, coming inside of her. The clone let loose on her face and the other one released his own on her back. Tomomi blacked out and fell asleep on the ground with her up in the air. Naruto took her up bridal style and went into the shower, cleaning himself and Tomomi of their mess and sweat-covered bodies. After he changed the sheets on the bed, he let Tomomi on the bed once again and began to plant light, wet kisses on her voluptuous body, making the demoness moan in a cute tone. The Jinchuriki smirked at his work and clambered over her still form and kissed her s. He gently latched one of the areolas and made the other one with his free hand. As he sucked and lightly nipped them, Tomomi's body began to react and her eyes fluttered open. Naruto-kun, you still here? She asked. I figured that you wouldn't be satisfied after making you come twice. Tomomi smiled softly and blushed like a newlywed beginning to consummate her marriage with her significant other as she replied, you are correct, Naruto-kun. She lightly traced her fingers over her chest and cross scar. But, this time, I will be taking control. I let my lust control for the moment. Then by all means, take control. Naruto said as he removed himself from his position and laid on his back. Tomomi climbed on top of him and took his, stroking it back to being erect. Then she moved the tool into position and lowered herself on it, making it slip inside of her. She began to bounce up and down onto Naruto's large tool and the two stared deep into each other's eyes, daring each other to look away, but they didn't. There were deep feelings that were released at that moment as they made love. To them, it wasn't just mindless or friends with mutual benefits helping each other out. No, through their actions between each other over the last 6 years, they realized that they cared for each other on a deep level of friends, they realized that they were in love with one another. A Jinchuriki and his demon had the deepest connection than their previous containers. Aishiteru, Naruto-kun, Tomomi whispered. Naruto moved up forward and wrapped his arms around her waist as he said, I love you too, Tomomi-chan. Tomomi wrapped his arms around Naruto's neck and nuzzled his neck as they moved in unison until they both reached their climax. They stayed like that in silence for a few minutes until the Kyuubi spoke up, Naruto-kun, I want to try something. She said with a blush on her face. What is it? The vixen blushed deeper as she got up and turned around to spread her buttocks as she spoke. I want, you to me and my. Naruto blinked a bit, are you sure? I heard that it was uncomfortable. It will be, but I am willing to try it, with you. Tomomi said to her jailer. Naruto gave her a slight nod and stroked his once again, then lubricated his tip with Tomomi's wet juices mixed with his own. Rubbed the small entrance and pushed through slowly while placing a hand on the vixen's back to keep her from arching her back. She bit her lip at the new presence her other hole was feeling, then Naruto plunged himself fully into her, making Tomomi cry out in slight pain mixed with pleasure. It hurts, she whispered. Naruto was about to pull out, but the vixen commanded, no, don't stop, please. Naruto nodded and began to move as he thought, this place is so tight, I almost came from even entering her. He began to pump faster as Tomomi mewled out, more, I want more, please my harder, Naruto-kun. She begged. The boy's reply was, as you wish. Naruto moved faster and faster in her dirty hole as Tomomi shouted his name over and over. The Jinchuriki stimulated her faster to her orgasm by pinching her clit and rubbing her tits as he ed her. Tomomi-chan, I am so close. Come inside. Come inside my dirty little, clean it with your warm, hot seed. Naruto nodded and ed her like a raging piston until he let out a primal roar, announcing his climax in her. Tomomi released her own and collapsed on the bed. Naruto took out his tool and laid beside her, breathing hard. End. It is safe to read now, kids. That was amazing for a rookie. Naruto-kun. Tomomi whispered. Thank Kami for perverts. And Kama Sutra. And the internet. Naruto breathed out. Tomomi turned to lay her head on his chest and said, I mean it. What I said earlier, I meant it, Naruto-kun. Tomomi said, looking into his indigo eyes. Naruto chuckled a bit. It's funny, when I first met you, we didn't want anything else but a mutual understanding that we were going to make everyone pay. Then we became friends after a year. After that, I had a crush on you when I turned 8. You showed signs of returning them when I turned 10 and now we finally say the words to each other over and we haven't even gone on one date. Tomomi thought about it for a second and giggled as she said, "You are right, it is funny." Naruto said, "Well, how many minutes have ped in my world?" "Well, we ed for 2 hours, so only 2 minutes has ped." Naruto said, "I will stay for a bit, with you, Tomomi-chan." The vixen smiled, "Thank you, and just so you know, I don't mind sharing you, Naruto-kun." The boy blushed hard and Tomomi laughed at him a bit as they held each other in their arms. Then Naruto left the mindscape and the remaining teams were made to stand in front of the Hokage. Kakashi glared at him, but Naruto smiled and pointed behind him. Then the Cyclops felt a cold chill down his spine and noticed the only Jonin that scared him the most, who just so happened to be glaring at him, Saya Shueika, the Black Pearl. Her hair used to be pure white until Iwa killed her family in cold blood. In result, she went on a rampage and her victim's blood dyed it dark red, but in the night when she killed her enemies, it was pitch black. She wore the usual Jonin outfit and wore her family's headbands on her legs and arms, her own was on her forehead. She had ebony skin and glowing hazel eyes, standing at 5 feet 4 inches and wore a scythe. The blade was a mix of black and red, looking like a dragon's leathery wing, and the end of the blade was a blue demonic eye. Its name was Soul Eater. Everyone took great distance from her because she was deemed insane except to Naruto, of course. Under the insane demeanor, Saya had a golden heart and she even taught Naruto how to wield a scythe if he ever got one, which was convenient because Naruto gained a scythe when he battled the Joker bandits and he planned to reap some skulls with it. Arena. First off, congratulations on ping the exam. Anko shouted into the headset. But for 21 people to make it this far. I was expecting to only have single digits and even Naruto's team is here as expected. She thought, looking at the teams. Guy commented, "Your team isn't too bad at all, Kakashi, but as long as my team is around, their chances are slim." Kakashi looked at him, "Oh, sorry, did you say something?" Guy turned around, his fist raised, "Damn you, Kakashi, you're so cool and it really gets on my nerves." Anko said, "Hokage-sama will now explain the third test, so listen carefully. The floor is yours, Hokage-sama." Sarutobi nodded. "Thank you, Anko. First, I congratulate you on ping the second part of this exam. Before we begin, I would like to inform you about the true reason of this exam." The genin perked up at the Hokage's words. True reason, Sakura thought. Why do we have all the allied countries taking the exam together? Sarutobi asked rhetorically, to promote friendship among the countries, to raise the level of shinobi. Please don't be confused with these sugar-coated words, this exam is, Tenten thought, is. Sarutobi continued, as a technical war between the allied countries. All the genin except Gaara, Shino, and Kabuto's team were shocked. Wait, just what does that mean? Tenten said. Sarutobi mused, if we were to go back in time, the allied countries were all enemies. To preserve peace, the Chunin exam selection was born to solve the problem. Kiba shouted, why the hell we have to do that shit? Is this for deciding Chunin? Sarutobi answered, yes, that is correct, but also this exam has another side. You are risking your own lives to fight for your respected village's prestige. The ones watching the exam will be leaders and influential individuals, also each daimyo will be there to watch you fight. If you are considered weak, the country will lose clients and vice versa. It also sends a political message to other countries to show their strength. Lee shouted, but, why do we have to risk our lives in battle? Sarutobi replied, the strength of the country relies on the strength of the village. In turn, the strength of the village lies within the strength of the shinobi, and the strength of the shinobi is at its peak when in danger. It is to show off your own strength, which only has meaning when your life is at risk. That's why those who came before you have fought in the Chunin exam for this dream that is meaningful. Tenten said, but, why do you say stuff about this exam being for friendship? The Hokage said, like I said, I don't want you to confuse this purpose. By losing life and establishing balance, this is the shape of friendship in the world of the shinobi. Now before we begin the third test, I will tell you one more thing, this is not just a test. This is a battle with your dreams and your country's prestige on the line. Gaara said, can you hurry up and tell us what this life-risking battle entails? The Hokage said, hi, I'd like to now explain the third test now, but, then a sickly-looking Jonin interrupted, actually, I would like you to allow me, Gecko Hayate, as a referee. Sarutobi said, by all means, Hayate-san. Hayate gets up from his kneeling position and turned to the genin. Hi everyone, I am Hayate, and there is, something that I would like you to do something before the third test. Naruto looked at him with a raised eyebrow. Hayate-ni-san is a proctor too. Hayate said, it's a preliminary for the third test to decide who gets to participate in the main event. Sakura said softly, preliminaries. Shikamaru shouted, the hell does that mean? Hayate coughed, simple, there is too many of you since the first and second test has been way too easy for you guys. According to the rules, we must have a preliminary and reduce the number of the participants. As Hokage-sama said, there are many guests here, so the fights will take too long. If those of you feel like quitting may do so now. Doppo raised his hand, I'm going to quit. That last fight broke my leg and if I might get my knee broken. Hayate said, let's begin the preliminary matches. The matches will consist of one-on-one fighting. You will fight as if you are in a real-life confrontation. Since we have 20 entrants now, we will have 10 matches exactly and obviously the winners will advance to the next match. The Jonin continued, the rules are, there are no rules. The fight will continue until you die or give up the match. If you don't want to die, then quickly acknowledge your defeat. But when I decide that the winner is declared, since we don't want to pointlessly increase the number of corpses, I will jump in and stop the match and the object that controls your destiny is this. Naruto interrupted, the thing that controls our destiny is a big screen television. Hayate nodded, correct, this screen will show the matchups for each battle, now let's start the first match. The screen flashed to reveal the first match, Sasuke Uchiha vs. Yoroi Ikado. TCH, I had a feeling that they would do that. Naruto muttered and he looked at Sakura. She was torn at the sudden selection, no way, right off the bat, Sasuke-kun has to fight. Hayate said, will everyone but the two entrants please exit the stage? Are you two ready? Both of them nodded. Sakura, Tokiko said softly, he will be okay. Sakura whispered, I hope so. Naruto looked at the Uchiha and thought to himself, the idiot, he is battling with the active curse seal on his shoulder, but it will be funny if he loses and more fun for me since Sakura seemed to care about him. Sasuke's eye twitched at a wave of pain, the seal is acting up again. Yoroi thought, hey, it seems that Orochimaru-sama's seal still hurts him. Lee thought, good luck, Sasuke. Neji looked at him intently, a chance to watch his abilities. Kakashi watched past Sasuke as he said, Sasuke, I know about the curse seal, and just so you know, if it activates, I will stop the match. Sasuke thought, shit, I can't use Sharingan or my normal jutsu. Orochimaru thought silently as he came into view as a Jonin, oh good, I didn't miss anything yet. Looks like Yoroi is fighting Sasuke-kun, that is most unfortunate, that is the worst possible fighter for him with the curse seal on him. The snake Sanin thought. Hayate said, now, begin. Yoroi did the Tora sign, are you ready? His right hand glowed ablaze with chakra as his left had reached into his pouch. Sasuke reached in his holster. Yoroi flicked them at the Uchiha, but the Uchiha did an overhand strike with his kunai, sending the projectiles back at him. Then the seal decided to throb and Sasuke fell down to the ground. Yoroi saw the opportunity and acts by moving toward Sasuke. He aimed his right hand to smash Sasuke's head, but the Uchiha rolled to the side and slammed the kunai point into the ground, then he tripped Yoroi using his feet, then maneuvered him into a wrestling move, threatening to break his arm. But Yoroi's hand grabbed Sasuke's shirt and Sasuke felt his strength fading away fast. His grip on Yoroi's arm slipped and Yoroi elbowed Sasuke in the gut and then flipped up into a kneeling position. Sasuke thought, what was that? My strength just suddenly. The weird ninja then moved toward the fallen Avenger, causing Sakura to shout in alarm. Sasuke looked up to see Yoroi's chakra-infused hand clamped on his head, and the Uchiha began to feel weaker and weaker. My chakra, Sasuke said. Yoroi chuckled, so you finally noticed, it's about time. Orochimaru thought, Yoroi's special ability is that he can suck chakra, rendering the person useless and weak by a touch of his hand. When he sucks all of your chakra, you will have no choice but to release the cursed seal, now unleash its beautiful power. Sasuke moved his leg to prop it against Yoroi. Ah, damn, you. Yoroi was kicked away and skidded away, so, it seems that you still have power left. Yoroi charged again, having Sasuke dodge the swipes of his hand. Sasuke aimed a roundhouse kick at him, but Yoroi jumped over and landed away from him. Sasuke thought desperately, if he tries to touch me one more time, I am done for and he will try to get in close combat with me. What do I do? Gaara thought, is that all you have? Uchiha Sasuke. Naruto laughed cruelly. Wow, Uchiha, this is quite pathetic of you. Is this the best you can do? Sasuke looked to see Naruto and Lee on the balcony. That's it, I know what to do. He thought. Yoroi charged at Sasuke. It's over, Uchiha. But the next move surprised everyone, especially Lee, as Sasuke used the same move that Lee used on him. Naruto turned to Lee and said to himself, I see, he must have fought him before the first test, no wonder he looked so jacked up before, and Lee must have used a particular move that Sasuke copied with the Sharingan. Sasuke appeared behind Yoroi, though from here, it's all original from here. Sasuke said, it's over. The Uchiha poked him in the back and the opposing ninja recognized the move, Kage Buyu. Now the seal chose the time to act up and the marks began to spread all over his body. Damn it, I will not let this thing consume me. He thought, making his will push back the cursed seal. The seal is returning. Anko thought in shock. Orochimaru scowled at the predicament as Sasuke pushed off of Yoroi's back and aimed a kick at Yoroi's right side. Yoroi blocked the kick and scoffed, not enough. Sasuke grimaced and used the momentum of his kick to aim a punch to his unguarded left side. Kakashi said, not enough, Yoroi's head snapped downwards, but Sasuke did not relent. Get your back here. The Uchiha shouted as he used his right arm to catch his opponent in the chest. Before Yoroi hit the ground, Sasuke turned to land a kick in the chest as he shouted, there's more. Shishi Renden. Yoroi's head snapped upwards to cough up blood and he was knocked unconscious. Sasuke slid to the side before coming to a complete stop. Then the Uchiha struggled to get up as Hayate declared, winner, Uchiha Sasuke. Sasuke fell backwards in exhaustion only for Kakashi to catch him with his foot. Naruto said, well, I was not expecting that to happen, but the Tem is a stubborn one, of course, he was going to win, and he managed to copy Lee's technique. Lee thought, I see, so that's your ability. You were able to copy only a part of my technique by seeing it once. What a person you are, Sasuke, you will get stronger and stronger. Naruto looked over at Lee and made a mental note to self, make a seal that blocks the Sharingan's ability to copy, or just maim his eyes to be utterly useless. Guy thought, mastering a part of the lotus is impossible without proper training. Even with the Sharingan, it is not something that can be perfected that quickly, and the creativity of his move, he reminds me of you, Kakashi. Tenten thought, the last year's rookie, Neji Hyuga and Naruto-kun, I wonder which one is stronger than the other. Kakashi said, now let's get that curse sealed up now. Sasuke said, can you wait until the prelims are over, I want to observe the matches. Kakashi said, don't worry, I'm sure your teammates and I will tell you all about them and their techniques. They shunshined away as the screen flashed to reveal the next match. Hayate coughed, will cough Abumi Zaku and cough Aburame Shino please come down. Zaku said, who the hell is this loser? This will be easier than I thought. Shino quietly walked down the stairs to the arena. Kiba nodded, yeah, he's right. Shino is one of the guys I wouldn't want to fight at all. Hayate shouted, Hajime. Shino spoke to Zaku in monotone, if you fight here, you will never fight again, it's best if you forfeit. Zaku's left arm twitched a bit and he began to move, it seems that this one can move a bit, but I only need one arm to kick your weird. Zaku flew at Shino, but the Aburame brought his arm to block Zaku's strike. Zaku cursed, damn it. Shino replied, it is useless, you can't beat me with just one arm. Zaku retorted, shut the up. Take this. Zaku's hand opened to reveal his air hole, Zankuaha. The blow hit Shino full force in the head and Shino rolled on the ground, smoking. Hee hee hee. Zaku chuckled with a smirk. Hey, get your up. Shino slowly got up and revealed something that Zaku was slightly disturbed. What the Oto Nin saw was that Shino had bugs crawling under his skin, literally. What the? He has bugs from inside his body. Zaku thought to himself. Then he heard a multitude of noises behind and turned to see an army of bugs behind him. Shino explained. They are called Kikaichu bugs, they attack in numbers and consume chakra. Like I said, if this many behind you get you, you'll never be a ninja ever again. If you don't want that, then you should give up. Zaku glared at him for putting him in this predicament. Shino pushed up his shades. If you decide to attack me with your arm, then the bugs will get you, and if you attack my bugs, I attack you. Zaku cursed loudly. Damn, Shino said, you should always save your trump card at the last moment. Zaku thought as images from his past of the meeting with Orochimaru came into view. I can't continue to fail. Zaku shouted. Don't mess with me. Zaku pulled his right arm out as he declared in a proud voice, hey, you should always have a trump card at the last moment, right? Kiba shouted. What? He can use his right arm too. Dosu thought. So it was all an act that his right arm was completely useless. Hey, good one, Zaku. Zaku shouted. Take this. Suddenly his arms imploded and one of them fell to the ground. Zaku looked at it in shock as he saw Kikaichu coming out of the air tubes. Shino came behind Zaku as he said, when I told you to give up, I sent some of them to close your dangerous air holes with their bodies. That is a true trump card. Zaku shouted, you bastard. He sent a punch, but the Aburame ducked and backhanded Zaku. Hayate declared, Shosha, Aburame Shino. Match 3 is Masumi Tsurugi vs. Kankuro. Hayate called out. Kankuro said, hey, this will be easy enough. Baki, their sensei said, Kankuro, don't get why. Kankuro pretended that he didn't hear him at all and continued to the arena. Tamari muttered, that idiot is going to get himself killed. Kankuro stood and faced Masumi, Yoroi's teammate. Masumi said, just throw the match or I'll kill you. Kankuro said, sorry, but I plan on winning this match. Hayate shouted, begin. Kankuro started things off by throwing a punch to Masumi's face, but the Konoha spy blocked it with his forearm and then something weird happened. Masumi's arm twisted around Kankuro's arm, startling him and allowing Masumi to constrict himself all over Kankuro's body. You see, my bloodline allows me to dislocate my bones and become like rubber. Now forfeit the match or your neck will snap. Kankuro grinned and said, never. Masumi squeezed tighter and tighter until everyone heard Kankuro's neck snap. God damn it, I really didn't want to kill him. Suddenly Kankuro's face started to peel off like ceramic, then Kankuro lifted his head and turned it completely around to reveal that the person Masumi was holding was not a person, but a marionette. Now it is my turn. The puppet said in Kankuro's voice. Next, the puppet's arms sprang from the cat suit and wrapped around Masumi's body. A puppet. Then where is? Masumi said. Then he looked toward the bandages to see something moving and a hand popped out to remove it, revealing Kankuro. You're a puppet master. Masumi said. Kankuro said, that is correct and now I will return the favor, but I won't break your neck, instead I will break everything else. Kankuro clenched his fist and the puppet crushed Masumi's bones and making him scream in pain before falling unconscious. Like I said, too easy. Kankuro said. Hayate thought, that was close, I almost called the match too soon. Match 4. Sakura Haruno vs. Ino Yamanaka, fight, Hayate said. The swordsman sat a few feet back and meditated. Ino said, well, Sakura, I never thought that I would be facing you soon. Sakura got into a sloppy stance. I will not let you beat me here, Ino. Me and Sasuke-kun are meant to be and I will crush anyone in my way, including you. Ino replied, you can try. Sakura ran at Ino with her doing hand signs, Bunshin no Jutsu. Ino thought, the clone jutsu, how the hell is that useful? Sakura used her foot, kicking up dust and obscuring Ino's vision. The clones rushed in, sending faux punches until Sakura landed one on her rival's face. Ino commented, that was weak, be serious, Sakura, or are you the same crybaby from back then? Sakura yelled as she sent a punch at Ino, the Yamanaka ducked and blocked it. Ino went in a boxing stance and used two feints to slam her fist into Sakura's stomach. Sakura dropped down and tried to sweep kick Ino, but the Yamanaka jumped away only for the Haruno to send 3 kunai at her. Ino did the same to block them and the two kunoichis continued to send punches and kicks at each other. Naruto's eye began to twitch. They have been doing the same shit for the past 10 minutes, will you two just end it already? He thought. So Ino used her kunai to cut her ponytail and cascaded it all over the floor and tried to use the shintension. Sakura knew this move and was able to dodge it, if it was an actual jutsu. She fell into Ino's trap by getting her feet trapped within her fallen hair and tried her jutsu once again. Ino would have won if Tokiko has not cheered Sakura on, enabling inner Sakura to force Ino back to her body. You have, two minds. Ino said, panting. Remember, a girl got to have a hard center or she isn't going to make it. The two did one last charge and punched each other in the jaw, knocking each other. Hayate moved out of his state and said, neither combatant can continue, therefore it is a draw. Now match 5. Shikamaru Nara vs. Kin Tsuchi, fight. Shikamaru cursed, Mendokus, I have to fight a woman, great. Kin replied, then I will end the match quickly. The Nara shouted, Kujmain no Jutsu. Kin moved to the side as she said, I have seen that technique before, all I have to do is avoid your shadow. Shikamaru dodged and looked behind him to see Senbon with bells. Funny, next, you are going to send Senbon without bells in pair with one with bells. So you say. Suddenly Shikamaru heard a ring to C string attached to the bells and Kin struck as he turned back to see her. Now for the coup de grace, she suddenly found out that she couldn't move at all and Shikamaru stood up and stated, looks like it was a success. What? Your string can't produce a shadow at that height, but all of the shadows are mine to control, I shifted it to match your strings and attached it to you. Shikamaru said as he pulled out a shuriken out of his holster, making Kin do the same. Are you crazy? If we are locked in the same movements, you will be hurt as well. Shikamaru said, I know, but I like to stare at my chances in the face. They threw it and as the weapon came closer and closer, Shikamaru bended backwards as well as Kin, but she hit her face against the wall behind her and slumped to the floor, unconscious. Naruto looked at the Oto Jonin and found him to appear familiar to him and then he realized that it was Orochimaru in disguise and he was staring at Kabuto. Looks like I will have to contact him, he thought. Match 5. Rutaxin vs. Mitsuko Himura, fight. Hayate said. Naruto summoned his scythe while Mitsuko took out her double-bladed weapon. This is Graceful Dahlia, wielded by a man named Marluxia, known as the Graceful in. He had a great ambition to control a power that he couldn't possess. Naruto stated. Interesting, now let's see if you can use it. Mitsuko replied. Naruto and Mitsuko moved toward each other and slammed into each other, then Mitsuko backed up a bit and swung at Naruto's right side, but Naruto blocked it and pushed it away. The Jinchuriki swung the scythe in an upward arc, catching Mitsuko's weapon between her hands and flung her over to the wall. The girl was able to catch herself on the wall and Naruto ran up the wall, slashing at her. Mitsuko was instantly on the defensive and they were locked once again. Are we having fun? Naruto asked in a creepy smile and Mitsuko, in turn, answered with a dangerous smile, the time of my life. She twisted to the side and separated the weapon into 2 blades. Kusa no Ryu. Nagaraboshi no Mai. Naruto smirked at Mitsuko's afterimages began to attack him. Huracan de la Rosa. Naruto countered as Graceful Dahlia burst into rose petals and surrounded Naruto's persona, blocking her attacks and shredded her into ribbons. The Jinchuriki appeared behind Mitsuko to whisper something in her ear, then Mitsuko jumped back a bit weakened just as the rose petals became Graceful Dahlia again. What did you do to me? She asked. Graceful Dahlia has every poison known to man found in plants. The rose petals that cut you have injected you with a toxin that affects your muscles. Mitsuko smirked. What a coincidence, my swords have been coated with poison that I made myself. Naruto said with a smirk, let's see, lupinine, cyanide and a hint of black nightshade, am I right? Mitsuko was shocked that he figured out the contents of her poison as he said, sorry to disappoint you, but due to my unique abilities, I am immune to poison of every sort to a certain extent. You need a stronger dose. As for your poison, It is from the azalea plant, you should be feeling nauseous right about now. Mitsuko suddenly knelt to the floor and Naruto's graceful dahlia hovered under her neck. Please give up. I don't want to kill you, but if I have to, I will do it. Naruto stated. Fine, I forfeit. Mitsuko smirked. I never expect such compion from the 13 ninja himself. Winner. Rutaxin. Naruto replied, you haven't given me a reason to kill you and I highly suggest that you don't give me a reason to do so. Corta de la Luna. He made a small cut on her cheek, taking the poison from her body. There, you are fine now. Naruto said as he went up to the stairs and then went to the bathroom. When he was finished, Kakashi had cornered him and demanded, how did you get in the exams? I don't know, Hatake, I just don't know. Now excuse me, I would like to see the rest of the matches. You aren't going any, Kakashi started to say until Naruto took the Jonin by the face and slammed him through the door, making the Jonin land outside in the arena on his back. Everyone looked between Naruto and Kakashi and the Jinchuriki shouted, my tolerance is wearing thin, Hatake. Naruto shouted. Then he turned to see Mitsuko staring at him and smirked, that is why you shouldn't piss me off. Match 6. Tokiko Namikaze vs. Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba and Akamaru faced off against Tokiko, who got in her Tai Chi stance. Hey, this will be over soon. Akamaru, stay back a bit, okay. Kiba said as he flipped through hand signs and crouched, Ninpu, Shikyaku no Jutsu. Chakra covered his limbs and he rushed at her, but Tokiko sidestepped as she said, slow, then she did a pushing motion into Kiba's side, sending him flying into the wall. Akamaru. Kiba shouted. Akamaru leapt up at Tokiko, but the kunoichi was able to grab the dog by the scruff of his neck. The next move is yours, Kiba. Tokiko said as she tossed the dog into Kiba's arms. Akamaru, it looks like we have to be serious. The Inuzuka said as he gave his dog a soldier pill and then ate one himself. Akamaru's fur turned red and he leapt on Kiba's back and barked while Kiba said, Ninpu, Jujin Bunshin no Jutsu. Akamaru was transformed into a clone of Kiba growling at Tokiko. The Namikaze was slightly afraid due to the look in their eyes, but shook her head and took out a scroll to unseal her sword. Interesting. She knows Kenjutsu too. Along with her Tai Chi, she could win this match. On the other hand, Kiba and Akamaru's speeds have increased greatly. Naruto thought to himself. Let's go, Akamaru. Gatsuga. Kiba cried out. The two feral partners spun rapidly, turning themselves into a rapid human drill of claws. Tokiko tried to dodge, but unfortunately she was struck and her clothes were torn as well as her blood was spilled through lacerations. Naruto's face held a smirk of unsuppressed glee at her pain and Kiba said, give up, Tokiko. You can't beat me and Akamaru, our teamwork is unstoppable. Tokiko got up with difficulty, shut up, you mutt. Kiba growled as she continued, I didn't come here to lose to you, there is something that I want to fight against here, and you and your little dog are in my way. Tokiko moved her sword to the side and crouched as she gathered her chakra. Kiba charged along with Akamaru, performing the Gatsuga once again. Tokiko stared at the drills and said, Uzumaki no Ryu, Raging Torrent. Tokiko stepped forward, catching one of the drills and slashed into one of the Kiba's multiple times, then she sent him upwards to slash at him again, then the Namikaze knocked him down to the ground and placed the tip at Kiba's chest, stopping the other in its tracks. Forfeit now, Kiba, Tokiko said and Kiba glared at her as he weighted his options and then said, I forfeit. Winner. Tokiko Namikaze. Tokiko searched the audience for someone and her eyes rested on Naruto and then pointed her sword at Naruto, you are next, Rutaxin. Everyone was surprised at Tokiko's boldness and Naruto laughed as he said, this is highly amusing, fine, Namikaze, I accept your challenge. As they led Kiba away, the scoreboard flashed to show Temari and Tenten. Hayate said, the next match. Sabaku no Temari vs. Tenten. She walked down the stairs to face Temari, who was wearing a confident smirk on her face. Are the contestants ready? Both of the kunoichis nodded in confirmation and Hayate chopped down his hand, begin. Tenten and Temari both jumped back to get some distance between each other. The weapon's mistress threw kunai at the wind mistress, but Temari gathered wind-natured chakra to block the kunai away from her. Tenten said, What? But that attack was right on. Naruto thought. She is using wind manipulation. It looks Ten-chan has a major disadvantage. Temari unclasped her fan and opened it up to reveal a purple moon on the fan. This is the first moon, girl. When you see all three, the match will be over. Tenten gritted her teeth as she racked her brain. How is she doing that? She is not using any hand signs or nothing, but yet my attacks can get through. Tenten ran at Temari and threw kunai at all directions as she thought, this should work. But again the attack failed and Temari swung her fan to blow back Tenten and her weapons. You are on the second moon, sister. Look, it's over, your weapons aren't effective against my style, which has been proven twice. Temari said. Tenten unclasped the two scrolls on her hips and Lee said quietly, Tenten, you are not thinking of using that technique, aren't you? Tenten thought, I have no choice, this move should be able to pierce that wind defense of hers. I can't lose here, there is someone that I want to fight here. Tenten placed the two scrolls apart from each other and bit her thumb, drawing blood. Well, like they always say the third time is the charm. So Shoryu, she shouted. The two scrolls burst and twirled around Tenten, she flew up and levitated in the middle. She grabbed one of the scrolls in air and began to flip in around her until the scroll unfurled around her. Then she swiped her blood on the markings, making various weapons popped out in existence. Then Tenten threw the weapons one by one at Temari, who swung her fan to make the weapons blow off course and stab or fall on the ground around her. Tenten smirked and brought her hands back to her body and to everyone's surprise, the weapons came back to her. Kakashi said, very clever, she used wires to attack to the weapons, clever girl that guy got. Temari said, sorry, today is not your day, you lose, princess. Temari swung her fan while shouting, Ninpu, Kamedachi no Jutsu. The weapons were blown back once again and Tenten was trapped in a wind cyclone, where she was slashed up by invisible blades of wind. Tenten fell to the ground, but Naruto caught the unconscious Tenten before she hit the ground and gave her to the medics. You held back a bit, Temari-san. I didn't want to hurt her too badly. I see, congratulations on your win. Winner. Sabaku no Temari. Thank you, Rutaxin-san. Match 10. Neji Hyuga vs. Hinata Hyuga. Fight. Neji and Hinata faced each other. Neji spoke first, I never thought that I would be facing you. Hinata replied quietly, Neji ni-san. Tokiko raised an eyebrow, never knew that Hinata had a brother. Kakashi replied, that is because they aren't Tokiko-chan, they are member of the Hyuga clan, but they are not brother and sister. Sakura asked the silver-haired Jonin, so then, what are they? Kakashi said, they are members of the Hyuga's main and branch houses. Lee said, Hinata is part of the main house, while Neji is in the branch house. Tokiko asked, so why does Neji look mad at her for? Lee said, many things happened between both houses and they are at odds right now. Hayate shouted, begin. Neji said, before we begin, I like to speak freely, Hinata-sama, you don't make a good shinobi, forfeit the match. Hinata's eyes widened and she looked to the side. Neji continued, you are too kind, you wish for peace and avoid conflict, you agree with others, never resisting. You have no confidence in yourself and the Chunin exam could be taken as a team of 3, you couldn't turn down the request, couldn't you? Hinata said, no, IW wanted to change myself, do something on my own. Neji said, as I thought. Hinata-sama, you are a spoiled brat of the main family. People can't change themselves, losers will always be losers. Their personality and strength can't change at all. The Destiny Jack continued, because people can't change, differences were born and the terms loser and elite were created. Looks, brains, personality, ability, size, all people judge and are judged in these values. Based on these unchangeable factors, people discriminate and are discriminated against and then they suffer under their own means. Just like the fact that you were born in the main family and I in the branch. Neji said, I can see through you with my Byakugan, you are acting strong, but really you want to run and hide. Hinata retorted feebly, no, I really. Sakura said, what is the Byakugan? Kakashi said, in terms of insight, it usurps the Sharingan. There are rumors that the Uchiha clan originates from the Hyuga clan. Neji smirked smugly. Like I said, I can see through. Your eye went up to the upper left, meaning you are remembering your painful past, then in the lower right, that is a sign that you are imagining physical and mental pain, you are imagining that you are going to lose. Tokiko shouted. Honestly, you can't believe that. Fate can be changed in an instant when you have the will to change it. I have seen fate at its worst and it has been proven wrong many times. Then Hinata bowed her head while Neji thought, by Kami, he is annoying. Then the Hyuga Jack looked at Hinata, her eyes filled with determination, so you won't forfeit, then I will not be responsible for what happens here. Hinata activated her Byakugan as she thought, I will not run away, I will no longer run away. Naruto thought to himself, so the girl has a backbone, let's see how she fares against her cousin, she may give him a run for her money. The Hyuga heiress then slipped into the Hyuga stance, Neji Nisan, let's fight. Neji slipped into the same stance, fine. Both of them charged at each other. Lee said, I thought so, their stances are similar to each other, the same Hyuga style. Sakura said, Hyuga style. Lee answered, that style is the strongest taijutsu. Hinata and Neji fiercely battled and mesmerized the audience with the deadly dance of death. Hinata's flexibility against Neji's knowledge and control of chakra were clashed between each other, each trying to overpower and gain the upper hand. Then Hinata saw an opening and aimed her chakra at Neji's torso, catching a scratch on him. Neji stepped back, ching his chest, ah. Tokiko smiled as she cheered, go, Hinata, you kick his. Prove to him that you are not weak. Sakura said, but she only barely hit him. Lee said, that is the thing, a slight scratch is all it takes. That is all it needs. Sakura said, explain, Lee-kun. Guy stepped in, the Hyuga-style taijutsu has been passed down through their generations. The taijutsu Lee and I used, Goken, is solely for bruises and breaking bones, while the Hyuga-style, Juken, causes damage to the chakra network. It may not look impressive, but you feel the aftereffects as the battle progresses. Hinata fought, pressuring Neji to go on the defensive. Shino thought, Hinata's in control of the battle, I am seeing the true Hinata Hyuga. Kurenai thought, Hinata. Sakura said, so they attack the chakra network system. Guy said, anybody can utilize this style by knowing the anatomy of the body well, but their Byakugan helps them perfect the style, since they can see the chakra network. Hinata and Neji jumped back from a moment and clashed into. Did she get him? Sakura said loudly. Hinata coughed up blood, shocking everyone. Neji said, so this is the extent of the main family household. Hinata thought as she knocked Neji's arm away and aimed at his head, not yet. Neji's eyes widened as he quickly reacted by grabbing her arm and pressing a point. Then he pulled back her sleeves to show red dot-like bruises on her arms. No way, from the beginning, you, Hinata said. Exactly, I have stopped your flow of chakra in your arms. You can no longer utilize the Juken style against me, it was fated that you will lose. Hinata was knocked back in the chest and she skidded a few feet away from him. She struggled to get up as Neji said, Hinata-sama, there is a difference in talent that will never change between us, the difference that makes you the loser and me the elite. This reality cannot be changed. From the moment you said you did not want to run, you were setting yourself up for regret, you should be overcome with desperation. Forfeit. Hinata got up slowly as she said, I will, not give up, yet. She is at her limit, any more damage and she'll, Kurenai thought in panic. Kakashi said, this Neji is quite formidable, I doubt that Sasuke or Naruto will be able to beat him. Guy thought, she can't defeat him, Neji would most likely survive this test. Gaara looked intently at the fight, who knew what thoughts were going through his unstable mind. Hinata looked up at Tokiko and then the heiress then charged at her cousin as she thought, Tokiko-san, thank you, your words make me feel like I can do anything. I feel courage, I feel like I am worth something, that is how I began to feel. Neji blocked her arm and raised his palm to plant her a strike to the chin. She skidded back only to charge at him once again. Kurenai thought, Hinata, you used to always quit, I know better than anyone else about the tough training you put yourself into. You would fail missions and were weak when it mattered the most, eventually losing your confidence quickly. But, that child is no more because the woman I see has changed. Hinata thought to herself, I have always watched you, Naruto-kun, but now you are the one watching me. Neji attacked Hinata in the chest as he said, you understand nothing, your attacks have done nothing since the beginning. Hayate stepped in, as it seems that Hinata Hyuga can't. Naruto interrupted, you might wanna rethink that, Hayate ni. Everyone watched in surprise to see Hinata standing with her arm, holding her side as blood tricked from the corner of her mouth. Why? Why do you persist on standing? If you keep on pushing yourself, you will die. Neji asked. The Hyuga princess declared, it's not over. Neji scoffed, acting tough is futile, I can see that you can barely stand at all. From the time of your birth, the responsibilities of the main family were pressed upon you. You have always hated your weakness, but people can't change fate. There is no need to suffer, so let it go. Hinata replied softly, but strongly, you are wrong, Neji, because that person that is suffering and lost in the destinies of the main and branch families is actually you. Suddenly something snapped in Neji and he charged the weakened Hinata, only to have Hinata protected by the Jonin. Neji, you said that you wouldn't get your feelings toward the main branch involved in this match. Guy said sternly. Neji shot back, so the main branch sent more protection for the princess. Naruto sighed and jumped down, taking out graceful Dahlia and strode to Hinata. Corta de la Luna, he made a cut on her cheek and her wounds were healed. Neji glared at Naruto and the Jinchuriki said, I don't think that you should be glaring at me at the moment. The boy was a bit confused and Naruto pointed his finger to make Neji look behind him. The Hyuga boy turned to meet Tokiko's fist in his face. You bastard. I am going to kill you, she said as she strode to him, but then Naruto aimed his scythe at her. Namikaze, I shouldn't even be helping you or your friend. In fact, I couldn't care less about either one of you, but if you fight him, you will be disqualified from your position in the exams and I would be very disappointed that I didn't get to fight you. You can kick his later in the finals or kill him if you want, considering that they are not repercussions in killing in the exams. Tokiko glared at Neji and said, fine, Rutaxan. Neji decided to shoot his mouth off. Hey. You, the loser over there. Two things. 1, if you are a shinobi, you should cut out the pathetic cheering of others. 2. In the end, once a loser always a loser. Tokiko growled maliciously and Naruto had to move the blade dangerously close to her neck to stop her and she said, okay, I am going, but I swear on Hinata's blood that I will destroy you utterly. Naruto withdrew graceful Dahlia and left to stand beside Amy and Ayane while Hayate had the cleanup crew washing the blood from the floor and then said, Match 11, Amy Kumara vs Shiwo Hitsuya. Kankuro thought, that Neji kid is very strong and now we know that there are 3 monsters here, but I think that Gaara's has a bigger temper. The demon within Gaara, it is getting fidgety with Gaara looking at blood. Both of them seem to be hiding their skills and we need to deal with them, when the main test comes around. I should gather some intel, I will ask Rutaxan. Naruto noticed someone behind him and said, what do you want, Kankuro? Kankuro said, what, I can't come here to say hello. Naruto said, hardly anybody that I don't trust doesn't come to me without asking something from me, now what do you want? Kankuro said, it's about that Hyuga kid. Naruto said, I have no clue about the guy, all I know is that he is a Hyuga, the cousin of my former CL mate and is married to Fate. Other than that, I don't care about him unless he gets in my way of becoming a Chunin. Kankuro thought, this kid, he is just like Gaara. Amy rushed into Shiva's guard with a kick, but Shiwo used her own kick to block it. The purple-haired genin sent out an uppercut, but Shiwo moved back and sent a rabbit punch to the face. Amy flew back and did a backflip while sending out kunai. Shiwo dodged it and Amy appeared behind her, surprising the Kusa genin. She is a fast, little girl, but, the Kusa genin thought as she ducked under her kick and sweep-kicked the girl on her back, I'm much faster. Kaden. Gukaku no Jutsu. Cried out Amy and Shiva's eyes widened as Amy blew a large fireball in her face. She used the Kawarimi and flipped through hand signs, Fuden, Daitapa. Amy was caught in the blast and slammed into the wall. Damn, and I thought Doppo wasn't easy to beat. I can't use any Kaden Jutsu since I know now that she can use Futon Jutsu and that is just suicide for me to use, so she can augment it. She said to herself. Shiwo said, this is the end for you, Amy-san, Jinten. Hayabusa Pisuden. She drew her fist back and sent 6 punches to Ami's stomach when it looked like one to the spectators. Amy grabbed her stomach and lurched forward, allowing Shiwo to do a knife hand chop to Ami's neck, sending her to unconsciousness. Winner. Shiwo Hitsuwa. Shiwo walked off to the hospital as she thought, I can see why Doppo dropped from the matches and you broke at least a rib or two with that punch that you gave me earlier. Hayate shouted, now for the next match. Match 12. Ayane Uchiha vs. Kabuto Yakushi. Kabuto started the match by sending out a weak punch, but Ayane slapped it away and punched Kabuto in the gut, then sent a knee into his nose and ended the combo with a spinning back fist. Kabuto fell to the ground, holding his nose, and Ayane moved forward to give the Glees wearing Genin a kick to the chest, and after Kabuto fell to the ground once again, Ayane sent a punch to the solar plexus and Kabuto shouted, I forfeit. Winner. Ayane Uchiha. The seemingly weak Genin walked off to the infirmary as he noticed a nod from the Odo Genin, who then did a shunshin. Naruto smirked as he thought, so they are meeting, and me, along with Ayane are in the finals, good. Kabuto and Orochimaru, so you got the data. Orochimaru said to Kabuto. The spy bowed to him, but of course, Orochimaru-sama, after all, I am the best spy that you have and Konoha hasn't even noticed me at all. Until now. The two turned to see Naruto approaching them and Kabuto moved to take him out, but met his shield. Don't bother. Nobody can get through unless I deemed it so. You must be Orochimaru. It is nice to meet you, sir. Orochimaru smirked. You must be Rutaxan, the 13 ninja, or should I call you by your real name, Naruto? Why are you here? Naruto said. I heard through the grapevine that you are here for Sasuke, correct? Yes. How do you know about that? Coincidentally, Anko and Sasuke both have the same mark, connecting the dots to you. I can bring you to him. Orochimaru said. That doesn't concern me, he will come to me. But time is not on your side. For now, your seal is probably held back and his sensei was able to convince him that the seal will hinder him. To get to you faster, I will have to beat him in every step of the way, playing on his superiority complex. He will feel inferior to my power and then will choose on his own will to come to you. I think that will happen in about 3 months. I also know you came for a second reason, to destroy Konoha, right? Orochimaru said. I am umming that you have some information on it. Yeah, the east wall has more weak points than the south wall, which everyone tends to go for some reason, and your old man can only produce 3 Kage Bunshin rather than the usual 20 he does since his reserves are literally reduced to half of yours. He is also vulnerable on the right side when he is going for a strong attack. Kabuto asked, why are you giving us this information, Rutaxan-san? What do you want in return? Naruto turned to Kabuto and gave him a smile rivaling the snake Sannin, because I want to see this village burn to the ground. Also Sarutobi is a thorn in my side, and with him eliminated, I can leave this piss poor excuse of a village without the threat of being a slave, a weapon. So I get the guaranteed death of my sensei and the Uchiha's body. But there is something else that you want, yes? Correct. I want the free will of my sensei, your former student, Anko Mitarashi. Ah, Anko-chan is what you want, I guess that I can give her up, once I have my play toy in my hands. Agreed, but you will do as my new spy since Kabuto has no purpose in staying here anymore and Kintsuchi will serve as your contact. It appears that she still has some use to me still now. Naruto nodded and bowed. Of course, Orochimaru-sama, I look forward to seeing the destruction that you will cause here. Farewell. The Kage Bunshin poofed out of existence and Kabuto turned to Orochimaru. Lord Orochimaru, are you sure that we can trust him? Yes, we can, Kabuto. I could tell in his eyes that he and I have a mutual goal on leaving the village behind and seeing it burn to the ground. He will not interfere in our plans unless we do something to him first. It is such a shame that Sarutobi-sensei tried to make him a weapon, or else he would have been a troublesome factor, especially with that bloodline he possesses. The last time I saw that bloodline of his was back in Tea Country. Naruto will be a powerful ally on our side, so I doubt that he will betray us, but I will let Kin keep a close eye on him. Arena. Soon the scoreboard revealed the next match, Sabaku no Gaara vs. Rock Lee. Gaara was already down and said, get down here. Lee said, Yosh, it's my turn. Guy said, alright, Lee, go do it. Lee leapt down to the arena and Naruto said, "Well, come on, makeup boy, let's watch the match, it shall be interesting." Naruto stood close to Ayane, Guy and Neji, who were near the far end, where Team 10 was located at also, Team 7 and Team 8 were at the other end. Lee commented, "Facing you this early made me happy today." Gaara said, "PFT. Kankuro commented, "I don't know what Bullhead can do, but he can't touch Gaara." Suddenly something flew toward Lee and he caught it in his hand, no need to get impatient. Hayate smirked as he said, "Match 13, Gaara vs. Rock Lee, begin." Tamari thought, his speed is good, but that is not enough to defeat Gaara at all. Lee moved forward as he shouted, "Konoha Senpu." Gaara's gourd spewed out sand and blocked his kick. Naruto thought, so the gourd is full of sand that he can control, but it looks like the sand is sentient just like my bloodline. The sand captured Lee and flung him backwards. Tomomi said, "That is because he is the Jinchuriki of Aikibi no Shukaku." Naruto said, "Oh, you are awake, how your sleep was?" Kyuubi said, "It was nice, thank you for helping me with my problem." The boy replied warmly, "You are welcome, now Gaara is the Aikibi container." Kyuubi said, "Yes, Shukaku's containers were driven insane due to insomnia and it seems that Gaara seems to be the worst of them all. He specializes in sand and wind jutsu." Naruto said, "I see." Kyuubi said, "Knowing him, that Lee kid's life is in danger if Gaara is hurt or agitated." Naruto said, "Judging by that, Gaara is mostly likely psychotic and will kill Lee if he is not careful." Lee moved around at each angle to punch and kick at Gaara, but the damn sand keep getting in the way. Damn, and he is not moving an inch either. Kankuro said, "Physical attacks won't work on Gaara, because of the sand that responds to Gaara's will, it acts as a shield and protects him. That is why there has not been a single person that got a scratch on Gaara." Naruto replied, "There is a first thing for everything, Lee will put a scratch on Gaara, I guarantee it." Sakura asked, "Why is Lee only using taijutsu? It is obviously not working at all, so should he use ninjutsu?" Guy said, "That is the problem, Sakura, he can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu." Sakura said, "What?" Guy said, "Due to a birth defect in his chakra coils, Lee can't use ninjutsu at all. If he did, he would have used them by now, so to help him, I forsake using ninjutsu or genjutsu to help with his dream of being the best taijutsu specialist." Suddenly Lee was forced backwards up on the top of the hand statue. Guy said, "Lee, take them off." Lee said, "But Guy-sensei, you said only to take them off when I must protect my friends." Guy said, "It is okay, I will allow it this time." Lee grinned back and took off his orange leg warmers to reveal his weights. "Now I can move easier." Kankuro said, "This is so stupid." Naruto smirked, "Now the real fun begins." Tamari said, "HMPH, taking off weights doesn't mean that you can beat Gaara." Boom. Lee dropped the weights to make huge craters and plumes of smoke in the air. The Yamanaka chose that time to close her mouth. Guy shouted, "Go, Lee." Lee smirked and sped off. Suddenly Lee appeared behind Gaara and his sand reacted to block his punch, which was very close. Then Lee moved again, this time his attacks were getting through. "Over here," Lee said. Gaara looked at Lee, who fainted and jumped in the air in a tight roll. Then the taijutsu specialist swung his legs down to hit Gaara's head. Gaara looked up and a huge scratch appeared on his cheek. Lee declared, "Now we are getting started." The taijutsu expert proceeded to beat Gaara into submission as Choji said, "His moves are so fast, I can barely keep up with him." Kankuro said, "This is bad." Naruto thought, "He is right, I can sense that the demonic energy within him rising from him." Lee looked at the insane look on Gaara's face and got scared a bit while Kankuro whispered, "Suna no Yoroi." Naruto said, "I see, so the stuff that is falling off of his face is sand too." Kankuro said, "It is a thin layer that he can use in case someone gets in his defense." Naruto said, "But to compress in a thin layer and keep it on requires a lot of chakra to do. In other words, Gaara knows that he is in a bad spot against Lee." Lee said, "I have no choice, I must use the lotus." He unwrapped his bandages a bit and ran around Gaara in circles as he thought, but with that sand, it will be a lot harder to kick him up. Gaara said, "Hurry up and come." Lee replied, as you wish. Lee used the same kick for the beginning of his move. That was the move he was using on Sasuke. Tokiko thought to herself. Lee shouted, it is not over yet. The boy repeatedly kicked Gaara up in the air and from the pain his eyes closed briefly. Guy started to pray and then Lee shouted, take this. Omit Renge. Gaara was slammed into the earth while Lee moved away at the last second, but then Lee gasped as he saw that Gaara was actually a shell of sand. Gaara appeared behind Lee, laughing, hehehehe. Gaara ordered the sand to smash at Lee and Lee was flung backwards into the wall, then another wave came in, making Lee raise his arms in defense. Naruto watched as Lee was getting plummeted by the sand and Kankuro said, that kid is in trouble. Naruto noticed that Lee was smiling and said, no, it seems Lee has another ace in the hole. Gaara shouted, die, but Lee dodged the attack and Kakashi said, Guy, you didn't teach him. Guy said, I did. Kakashi said, the Hachiman, no Tonko. Sakura said, Hachiman no Tonko. Kakashi said, the Ura Renge is not a technique that should be taught, especially to a genin. I have no interest in asking how much Lee means to you, but there are limits. I have lost respect for you, Guy. Guy looked at him, like you are the one to talk, especially since you have been teaching Uchiha here in private while Naruto trains by himself or with the lady he is always with and Sakura here is nowhere to be seen on the training ground. Kakashi looked at Guy, who said, yeah, I know about it, considering Naruto asked for me to help him train Tokiko with her taijutsu and he knows that you are, how did he say it, the Uchiha's bitch. At least I teach all of my kids, Kakashi. Unlike 2/4 of your students, Lee has a precious thing that he would give up his life to prove, I just made him the man to accomplish that dream. Kakashi said with a growl, how many? Guy said, 5 gates. Tokiko asked, just what is the Hachiman no Tonko? Guy explained, it is a limit removal of some sort, there are 8 spots where the flow of chakra goes through. In order, the initial gate, heal gate, life gate, harm, limit gate, view gate, wonder gate, death gate. The gates are working continuously to limit the flow of chakra, when the lotus forcibly opened them and releases a lot of power, but at the same time it destroys the body. If you open all of them, you could attain the strength of a cage, but in the end, you will die. Lee thought, Neji, Sasuke, Rutaxan, and Tokiko. I can't be the only one who loses here. Guy Sensei acknowledges me, this is the time to protect and maintain my own ninja way. Lee shouted, Simon, Kai. Lee was surrounded by dark green chakra and his hair stood up while his skin turned red with veins popping out. Showman, Kai. Lee crouched down and shot forward, he kicked the Jinchuriki up in the air and Gaara was flung upwards. Some of the stones were flung at the spectators and Naruto has to move his head an inch to avoid a few. Tokiko thought, Lee, you are truly amazing. Everyone looked up to see that Lee was hitting Gaara like a pinball. His armor was being ripped into pieces as Gaara thought, what? The armor, it is crumbling. Lee shouted, this is the end. Toman, Kai. Gaara thought, I can't protect myself, this is human speed. As Lee charged at Gaara, he looked briefly at Neji. Neji, this technique was supposed to be used to defeat you, but I will show it now. He slammed into Gaara and the boy fell to the ground only to be suspended in the air because Lee's bandage was around his waist. Lee pulled him back up and sent a leg and fist into Gaara as he shouted, and now for the finishing touch. Ura Renge. As Gaara fell, his gourd turned into sand, so it could cushion the fall and Lee fell to the ground, rolling away from Gaara a few feet. Suddenly Gaara stretched out his hand and Naruto thought, oh, no, you can't be doing that to my friend's teammate, Gaara-san. Naruto stood in front of Lee, making the sand halt in front of his shield. Naruto said, the match is over, he is unconscious, you won. Gaara said, why did you save? Naruto answered, because he is my comrade of a friend of mine. Gaara got up and rematerialized his gourd as he took control of himself, that is enough. Hayate said, winner, Sabaku no Gaara. Everyone gasped to see that Lee stood on his feet and Naruto, along with Guy looked at Lee. He smiled, Lee, you are amazing, you don't have to prove anything anymore. From what I see, you are strong in my book, ready to fight even when you are unconscious. Naruto poked Lee and the taijutsu specialist's eyes closed. Hayate said. Bring a medical team here. Neji whispered. Lee, you never realized it in the end. Fate will not allow a pawn that can only seek victory at the cost of himself. Gaara moved upstairs back to his team while Naruto moved up back to his spot. The last match was with Choji Akamichi and Dosu Kinuda. Dosu won hands down, and the finalists drew lots, and here was the matchup. Match 1. Tokiko Namikaze vs. Neji Hyuga. Match 2. Rutaxin vs. Shiwo Hitsuya. Match 3. Ayane Uchiha vs. Sasuke Uchiha. Match 4. Sabaku no Tamari vs. Shikamaru Nara. Match 5. Sabaku no Kankuro vs. Shino Aburame. Match 6. Sabaku no Gaara vs. Dosu Kinuda. Naruto moved straight to the Hokage's office to see Sarutobi in his office, writing paperwork as usual. What do you want? Sarutobi asked rudely. I would like to leave the village for the month to train. Sarutobi looked at him. Absolutely not. So would you rather me to unleash the Kyuubi's chakra recklessly in the village, causing widespread panic and chaos? Sarutobi said quickly. No. Then send me out. I am not going to run and disappear, not with you trying to figure out some way to control me by threatening my friend's well-being. If you want to be so secure, send a Jonin or Chunin with me. Then a woman with raven hair and ruby eyes, she wore a red undershirt along with some intricate wraps to complete her exotic look. Kurenai Yuhi, the Genjutsu mistress, Naruto thought to himself. Kurenai, how are you this afternoon? Sarutobi said in a believable warm tone. A bit stressful, but I am glad that at least one of my students was able to make it to the finals. Kurenai replied. Am I interrupting something? Not at all. Rutaxin would like to train outside of the village for the month, and he needs at least a Chunin or Jonin to supervise him in his training. Kurenai looked at Naruto and said, Sure, what kind of training is he doing? Controlling the chakra of the 9 tails, Naruto said nonchalantly, and Kurenai's eyes widened. Oh, come on, eventually I would figure it out. It wasn't that hard considering that every mob attacked me, idiotically shouting Kyuubi brat or demon. The Genjutsu user turned to Sarutobi. I will do it, Hokage-sama. When will you leave? As soon as possible, or tomorrow at least. Naruto answered as he left the premises. Meet me at the northern gates by 3 o'clock and pack for a month trip, Kurenai-sensei, and don't be late like Hataki Tem. He left, closing the door, and then the Hokage said to Kurenai, make sure he is just doing that. If not, use this seal, it will paralyze him, or if you keep it on him longer, it will destroy his chakra network to render him useless. Be careful, Yuhi-san. Kurenai nodded and left the Hokage house. Hospital. Naruto went to the hospital and asked, Excuse me, may I ask what room Amy is in? The receptionist looked at Naruto and began to glare at him. None of your business, you. Excuse me, but do you really want me to kill you in a hospital? No less. No, then tell me, where is Ami's room? Our room 362. He found Ami's room and went inside to see her awake. Hey. Amy turned to him. Hey, you. How do you feel? Like I got hit with a sledgehammer. Naruto chuckled as he pulled up a seat. Of course she used the swift release on you, and I am facing her in the finals. Amy said. So everyone is in the finals except me. Hey, it is okay, I am pretty sure that we will get it next time, or matter of fact, they could promote you at that time. I doubt that I am going to get Chunin status because of biased people, but who knows? Amy smiled. Thanks, Naruto. No problem, I will avenge your honor in the finals, it is what a man would do. The Jinchuriki said in a joking manner, making Amy giggle a bit. I'm going to Kusa for a month. The Kusakage would be good practice and I could train to my heart's content. Naruto said seriously. Amy said, that is great, so who is supervising you? The Hokage is not going to let you go scot-free. Wait a minute, you believe me? You accept me? Of course I do. Like Ayane-chan said, you are not the type to lie, and even if you hold the Kyuubi, you are not it. A demon wouldn't help me go to the exams or comfort me about losing my match. Naruto smiled at her. Thanks, it looks like I got a new friend to add to my collection. Just make sure when you get out of the hospital, train hard, okay? Right. The next day, Naruto waited outside of the northern gates, wearing a large scroll on his back. Then he saw Kurenai walking towards him and muttered silently to himself, "My journey begins." Outskirts of Fire Country, Naruto walked on the dirty road in silence alongside his watcher, Kurenai Yuhi. He spent 3 nights trying to figure out how to get rid of her, but he knew that she would notice the cage bunshin in a heartbeat if he tried to escape and run back to the village to have Sarutobi kill his friends. If he killed her, Sarutobi would have grounds to make him his personal weapon, and he didn't want that to happen anytime soon, considering if Orochimaru was true to his word. Modifying her memory was not going to happen since he was there, and the memory would break in an instant since she would have figured it out. "So, Rutaxan, where are we going?" Kurenai spoke up, trying to make conversation. "To Kusa no Kuni. I have some business to attend to there, and before you ask, no, I will not tell you. I am going out on a limb to say that you wanted to spy on that girl Shiwo, your opponent. I really don't want to pull rank on you for you to confirm it because of what you did for Hinata. I could really care less about her for her, but she is a comrade. Although she was nice to me, she doesn't know me at all, unlike Shino and Neji-san reminds me of those ungrateful bastards we have to protect. If you were shunned for something not under your control, you would want someone to save your bloody ass, wouldn't you, Yuhi-san?" Kurenai winced a bit at Naruto's barb and he continued, "I know the truth behind Neji's anger, and he is right to be angry, he is justified in his anger, but I believe that his anger is misplaced and should be directed at the uncle instead of the daughter. The girl just started her training at that time. If you want to report me to the Hokage about my whereabouts, and then fine, be my guest, but be careful because next time you meet me, you will be in hell." "Is that a threat?" "As I said to everyone before, it is not a threat, but a promise if you decide to be stupid, like your friend Tsubaki." Kurenai stopped abruptly. "You didn't." "Oh, but I did. Right now, she ceases to exist. In fact, there is nothing left to be put in a burial urn. Now there is also the fact that I can hurt you a bit closer to home, either Hinata or Asuma-san, but I will tolerate both for the moment. Unlike his father, he is not stupid. Lazy, but not stupid, and also." Naruto lifted his gloved hand to reveal the seal that Sarutobi gave her, making her gasp, "I don't think that you won't be needing this at all." "How did? What? Just because you agreed to be my babysitter doesn't mean that I will trust you at all, plus you agreed to the proposition too quickly for my taste." Naruto said in a neutral tone, "I want to know why." Kurenai replied, "It's because I owe you. My father died fighting the Nine Tails. As a Chunin and member of the Hidden Leaf, I felt highly obliged to protect my home, but my father, Shinji Yuhi, put a barrier protect me and the young shinobi and kept us out of the fight, so we could pass on our knowledge to the next generation. Earlier, I blamed you wrongly for that by glaring at you and ignoring your existence, but now I want to change you, turn you away from the darkness that we created in your heart by supervising you. I want to help you." Naruto shook and then laughed at her openly. "Help me? Ha, I am beyond the help of anyone. You think that just by supervising me, mentoring me is going to bring me back to the light? The way I see is that I will never go to the light since Sarutobi ate all that up in the darkness. I seen it consume others before and they died a coward's death. I am in the middle, neither light nor shadow. Unlike you people, I embrace my darkness. I am twilight, chaos, but most of all, I am nothing, and nothingness is eternal." "Sarutobi-sama," Kurenai said, but Naruto interrupted, as an old fool who likes people shoving up large dildos up his. "I tell you the truth, most of the shit he has done in his second reign as Hokage would make you sick. Now come on, we are wasting precious time by standing around here." Kurenai walked beside him and said sternly, "Listen here, Rutaxan. I will not have you belittling our Hokage. Lord Hokage is a kind person. First of all, he is your Hokage, not mine. To me, he is the council's bitch. HMPH, that kind, old man as you say let Anbu stand by, so villagers and ninja could beat me until brink of death. Why are you so bitter? You just don't get it, do you?" "Fine," Naruto said, "I will show you." The boy summoned a large book and whispered, "Complex Living." Both of them were swallowed into the light that emanated from the book and Kurenai woke up in Konohagakure. "What? I am in Konoha. But how?" Kurenai said in shock, "and why am I so small?" "No, you are not in Konoha. This is Konoha 8 years ago, and the reason that you are so small is that right now, you are in my 5-year-old body and about to experience one of my worst beatings. Naruto said, appearing out of thin air. Kurenai tried to release the illusion and Naruto said, yet this may be an illusion, but it is not possible that you can break it. Maybe Itachi-san can, but you are not even close to touch the surface of his level coming to Genjutsu, Kurenai Yuhi. Suddenly villagers and ninja came at her and began to beat her with their fists, legs, wooden weapons until they were done. Kurenai felt the pain, and when the villagers stopped, Naruto stepped forward. That was one of my worst beatings that I had in the day Saya Haruno gave me that scar. Then 10 minutes later, the Anbu would show up after to take me to the hospital. This continued on until I was 7, the day I become the demon that this village wanted me to become. I grew stronger, smarter, and faster over the next 6 years when I crushed the oppressors on my 7th birthday, all because of everyone's hatred of me, because he lost his wife Bawako. Then the memory world shattered like GL and Kurenai was back in her original body, panting as Naruto said, now you see why I hate Konoha, but why do I stay? It is because I have people that I care about and I will protect them from this village, even if I will have to release the Kyuubi to destroy this village once more. Kurenai looked into his eyes to see that he was serious on his threat. The Jinchuriki continued, now I am going to Kusa no Kuni, so I can practice using the demon's chakra and spy on my opponent. You are only here to supervise me, so the choice is yours, Kurenai Yuhi. This is bad either way. If I go back to Konoha, apparently to his word, the Hokage will hurt his friends and in result, Rutaxan will take his revenge on the village and I will ultimately lose my life or go along with him and have a slight chance of losing my life as well. She thought to herself as she bit her lip. After a few minutes of weighing her options, Kurenai began to follow Naruto to Kusa no Kuni and their journey took a week to get there. They stood a few miles from the gates of the village and Kurenai said, well, we are here, but how are we going to get inside? With this, Naruto said, holding up a book. A book is not going to help us get in, Rutaxan. Naruto ignored her comment and opened the lexicon, turn up. Henshin. A.N. Yes, the quote is from Kamen Rider Blade. Instantly the two of them were engulfed in light and changed into different people. Naruto changed into a tall, sinewy blonde with green eyes and a seemingly innocent face, while Kurenai changed into a woman wearing a black outfit and gloves with straight, black hair down to her back. Okay, in this form, you will answer to Tifa and my name is Demyx, got it memorized, Demyx. We are merchants and heard about a weapon that specifically is made in Kusa, which is the double-bladed swords. Kurenai replied hotly, I got it, I am not stupid. HMPH, you could have fooled me with that act. They approached the guards and one of them said, halt, who goes there? I'm Demyx, this is my companion, Tifa, I am a merchant seeking to find a double-bladed sword, which only made here. I am also supposed to be playing at a nightclub as well. P-ports. Demyx handed the P-ports to them and the guard said, what about her? Her. Believe it or not, she is my fiancé. Oh, she is a beauty, she looks very shy. Ah, but the shy ones are the best, right? The guard laughed and said, that is true, well, please enjoy your stay in Kusagaker. The gates opened and Demyx, along with Tifa, went inside of the village. How did you do that? Tifa whispered. One of my special abilities involving the lexicon, and no, we aren't in a henge, this is a special transformation. But if you have business here, why are we in disguise? 1. Kusa has listed me as ACCL ninja in the bingo book because apparently I have been killing their police force, the bandits, and may have killed the Kusakige's brother. 2. If I am going to kill said Kusakige, then I would have get inside the damn place. That is why you are here. Yep. But the thing is I am going to test my ability with the Kyuubi's chakra by fighting him. Just make yourself comfortable in the hotel room and don't come out. It is not going to matter to me if you tell Sarutobi or not, entirely up to you. Change up. Naruto changed once again. This time, he was a bit shorter than his usual height and had blonde hair with blue eyes. Now go to the hotel and try not to do anything stupid. Roxas went out after he changed Kurenai into a woman named Aerith, knowing that her power would be useless since she doesn't know her history. Roxas explored the area to see that Shiwa was right, mostly everyone was living in fear of the guards and he noticed that kids were not playing outside. He recognized Mitsuko, who was being leered at by some of the younger guards and inwardly smirked as she deliberately led them into the alley and then they ran out with frightened looks on their faces. Finally he found Shiwo and said, "You know, Shiwo-san, it is going to be very interesting to fight against you in the exams." "Rutaxan, you are here already," she said in surprise. "Yes, I may as well get it over with now. Do you have the patrol list?" "Yes, but unfortunately I could not get a map of the tower for you. They are separated among the Jonin who are loyal to them." Roxas was indifferent as he said, "Meh, I just wing it. Akane may be the strongest Jonin, but I got an ace up my sleeve, just make sure everyone is inside their homes by tonight." At the late of night, Naruto changed into Demix and he did his nightclub gig as he overheard that Akane would be on the 4th floor of the Kusa Tower. After most of the guards were drunk, Demix left and changed into Naruto to go and visit the tower, which was filled with guards. Armed with ninja weapons that he recently acquired from severed guards, the Jinchuriki took a bit of his demonic lover's chakra and morphed into his initial Jinchuriki sat. The boy silently crept into the shadows and took down the guards silently one by one, alerting no one in the vicinity. This is way too easy, Naruto thought, which can only mean one thing, it's a trap. Suddenly a large group of ninja appeared, surrounding the boy as Akane came from hiding in his self-portrait. He was a tall, pale man with crystal blue eyes and dark brown greasy hair. The Kusakage wore a Jonin jack with the normal Kusa outfit, wearing 2 kodachis on his hips. "Did you think I was going to let you waltz in my village, so you can kill me in my sleep, Actually I was going to wake you up, so I could get some entertainment out of it rather than the cloak and dagger shit. Plus I noticed that you are paranoid as hell. I wonder who the hell you pissed off." Akane sneered at him, "It is a good thing that I have guards tailing all visitors in the vicinity that I have not seen, bring the girl in." The Chunin guards parted ways to show a beaten Shiwo and she lifted up her head to see Naruto, who showed no emotion on his face to her. The Kusakage replied, "Now you will surrender and submit to me or she dies." Doesn't surrender and submit practically mean the same thing, dumb? Also what makes you think I care about her life? I could just kill you and your guards to be done with it after you kill her. Do you have a better bargaining chip? I have your other companion, bring her in. They brought Aerith in and Naruto laughed, "Actually she gave you the slip, that is a scarecrow you are holding." Akane shook in anger and Naruto looked outside, "Looks like the time is right, I think I will kill you now." Naruto sped over to the paranoid Jonin leader and slammed his palm into his chest, and then he took out 2 kunai to slit the throat of Shiva's captors. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A score of clones appeared and began to take over the building while one took Shiwo to the hotel. Naruto moved to block the Kodachi's attack from a recovered Akane and commented, "So you do have some skill, looks like you are going to be far more interesting than your idiot brother. So you are Rutaxan, you will pay for your insolence and the death of my brother. Tell that to someone who cares, Akane," Naruto said as he kicked Akane and attacked him with his kunai. "Kaden. Hisakiho," Akane declared as he blew hot ash. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki waited until the last moment to roar at the ash just as Akane clicked his teeth. The drapes on in the room ignited into flames, burning some of the guards and destroying the clones. "Get him," Akane shouted. The remaining Chunin charged at Naruto, who said, "Power down." He changed into his original form and attacked them all. Throwing the 2 kunai in his hands at the charging Chunin, he flipped through hand signs, Kage kunai no jutsu. The Chunin struggled to stop and were impaled on by the force, but some survived by blocking the kunai along with their shadow counterparts away from their vital points. "Sweden. Mizorapa," one of the Chunin said as he produced a jet of water to douse the flaming drapes, but the fire had spread too much to be contained at all. The remaining 4 of them proceeded to attack Naruto, who took out Itachi's Tanto and defended himself from their attacks. One tried to strike at him, but Naruto blocked his weapon hand and stabbed the Tanto along with the Chunin's hand against the wall and took his kunai to stab it in his chin. Next, he was punched in the face by one of the Chunin and then kicked in the back by another. "Alright, holes, my turn," Naruto said as he jumped in the air and did a split kick. One crashed through the flaming bed and the other fell into the hamper filled with Akane's discarded clothing. Next, he withdrew Itachi's Tanto and threw it at the Suiton-wielding Chunin, who dodged it only to meet Naruto's fist as he turned to the side. Naruto moved to stab him with his Tanto that he grabbed quickly, but he was kicked away by the other that he previously knocked away. The Jinchuriki blocked his kick and slammed his elbow into his knee joint, breaking it. The Chunin screamed in pain, but he was silenced by Naruto twisting his neck. Akane growled and said, "Looks like I have to deal with you myself." Just then the only exit was blocked off due to the fire, eating away at the structure from the roof. "Looks like you do. After this, there will only be one coming out of this inferno." Naruto took out a bandana and a vial filled with water to wet it and wrap it around his mouth quickly. "Smoke getting to you?" Akane asked with a sickly smile. "Nope. I just don't want nobody to see my face after I kill you. Besides, I can't get lung cancer from smoke due to certain specifications in my body. So tell me, Ishimoto Akane, do you fear death?" "No, but it looks like neither can use ninjutsu to win this battle of death, so it looks like my forte will be coming into play," Akane said as he slid into his stance and attacked. Naruto's arm and torso were slashed and a bit singed. "So you are a wind and fire type ninja, Hey, this will be fun," Naruto said with a chuckle, but he thought, "I hardly saw him moving to attack me, so this is the power of Kusagaku's best." Knowing that Akane would just augment his Kodachis with wind chakra to slice through his weapons, he put away the Tanto and attacked Akane with a fierce high kick, but Akane bent backwards only for the Jinchuriki to grab his shoulders and pushed him down. Akane spun in a windmill, making Naruto fall to the ground and clambered over his victim to stab him. Naruto coughed both of his wrists to stop the blades from impaling his eyes and slowly moved them away from his head to give Akane a headbutt. Akane chewed his nose as the metal plate headband broke it and Naruto gave him a heavy haymaker to punch him away, but Akane dodged and moved in, swiping at his opponent. The Jinchuriki dodged and weaved, only getting a few cuts and bruises. Akane went for a thrust, but Naruto chopped at his wrist, making him drop one of his Kodachis and sent an elbow into his ribs. The boy flipped the blade up and moved it into a reverse grip. "You're going to wish that you hadn't done that," Akane declared. Naruto summoned more of Tomomi's chakra and Akane gasped as he watched his wounds were healed in a matter of seconds and his eyes slowly turned from a calm indigo blue to a raging flaming red. "Let's see if you can keep up now," Naruto replied as he moved in front of Akane, who blocked barely with his forearms, causing the floor to give way by the force, resulting in them falling down into the tower. Naruto and Akane started to begin an epic free fall battle. The two grabbed onto each other and began to strike at one another as they fell, flipping in the air. Then Akane kicked him away and bounced off of the wall to land on a sturdy beam to run to the window while Naruto fell down. The Jinchuriki scanned the building quickly as he fell and saw a pole. He maneuvered himself to it and grabbed onto it and swung his body forward to launch him on top of it, and then he jumped a bit to bend it and launch himself up on the beam that Akane was on. He climbed up and took out the Kodachi that Akane dropped and Akane said, "Time to die." Naruto blocked his attack and replied, "You first." The two attacked each other, engaging in a sword duel while balancing on the burning beam. It was worthy of fencers and pirates, but at the last minute, Akane was able to disarm him and send Naruto's weapon into the beam above them. Akane slashed at him, but Naruto caught it in his hands, and then pointed the blade to the side as he quickly tipped the sword out of Akane's reach and then plunged his hand into Akane's chest using Tomomi's chakra. Then he caught the Kodachi in his free hand to stab him between the collarbone, killing the Kusakage instantly. Next, the Jinchuriki cut off Akane's head swiftly and took out his hand quickly to grab it by his greasy hair. He put the Kodachi in his belt and then jumped to grab the other one just as the beam broke. He swung himself toward the window, taking the head and Kodachi along with him with a large crash. He walked away with a slight limp as the Kusakage tower was destroyed, waking everyone up, and was able to lost himself in the chaos, leaving the head of Akane Ishimoto's head on the desk on the broken, burnt desk, which surprisingly survived. Naruto reached the hotel room to find Kurenai and Shiwo that was covered in bandages. He turned to Kurenai and said, "Let's go, woman, we have overstayed our welcome." "What did you do?" "Let's just say that the Kusakage didn't like my music and negotiated with him, with excessive force." You actually killed the Kusakage. Are you crazy? Is your boyfriend lazy as hell and smokes a lot? The answer is yes, but I am not crazy, just legally insane, plus I was paid to do it, so please stop acting like I slaughtered a whole village. It was only one tyrant and the majority hated him now. Let's go before we lose the advantage of the chaos I produced. Wait a minute, where is Akane's head? Shiwo asked. Naruto said with a smirk, look for it on the office desk. I will see you in 3 weeks, Shiwo, so get stronger and do your best to defeat me. Then he, along with a frowning Kurenai, left the village, and when the two were at the edge of the border, Kurenai grabbed him by the collar abruptly and slammed him into the tree. What the hell is your problem? You are supposed to be training using the demonic chakra contained within you, not making a name for yourself by being a cage killer. Note to self. Keep my guard up always when I am trying to limit up myself. I relied on my shield way too much. As to answering your question, I did, by testing on Akane Ishimoto, the previous Kusakage. By killing 2 birds with 1 stone, I killed the Kusakage, fulfilling my contract, and figured out that my limit in using the chakra has shot up to 30 minutes. You are impossible to deal with, I have no choice then. Rutaxin, I am placing you under arrest for insubordination. Like hell you are, bitch. He said as he kicked her in the crotch, making her gasp out in pain and then pushed her away. Suddenly in his anger, he didn't notice that a black portal appeared and he fell through it. Naruto woke up and thought, where the hell am I? What did I fall through? It is very dark in here. This is the Corridor of Darkness, a means of transportation used by the Organization 13. Tomomi answered. Then Naruto heard a noise and found a horde of white creatures appearing before him. We are at your bidding, my liege. What? Those are nobodies, the lower rankings of the Organization 13, since you have their power, and you can control them. I see, but I wonder how did I make the portal? Your anger is the key. You didn't want to be caught and your anger escalated that the thought that Kurenai-san was going to arrest you for insubordination. A normal person would have their heart corrupted by entering, but you have the power of the organization and the coat that you are wearing as well. So by using my dark emotions as a base, I can summon a corridor of darkness to travel across the 5 countries, and I can summon the nobodies basically as well. Yes, but to get your army to increase, you must kill people with strong hearts to release their nobody and control it. And the best place is Konoha. Hehe, how convenient that the invasion will be coming up soon. Naruto said to himself as he made another portal and appeared out to land behind Kurenai and knocked her out. Bitch, you are so lucky I need you right now or I would have killed you. He arrived at Konoha using the corridor of darkness with Kurenai's body in tow, knowing fully that if the darkness had corrupted her heart just a little bit, he could possibly sway that heart over to his side and have an inside woman in the Hokage's inner circle. Kurenai reported Naruto's behavior to the Hokage and the old man was slightly disturbed that Naruto was able to defeat and kill Akane Ishimoto, who was roughly about Ebisu's level as a well-rounded ninja. Naruto was called into the council meeting once again to address it and explained that it was a job solely for him to do because they didn't trust Konoha since they overpriced their missions. They also addressed the fact that Naruto had killed one of their prominent Chunins, Tsubaki. The Jinchuriki smirked as he did the same routine with the tape recorder and he was left off with no charges to him. He also was able to knock off Kenshin Nobuna from his position by revealing secrets to Kurigakure. He was executed 3 days later after it was confirmed. A week had passed and while Naruto was meditating, a raven appeared on his shoulder. Naruto opened one eye to notice a golden note tied to its leg to find out where he was meeting. He traveled over to the pub and walked inside to sit in a seat directly behind a blonde woman with golden eyes and a gold ring on her finger.